All right, it's finally done. It took a while. We got there, 40 all the way to number one. Well done, Chris Sims. Take 3 weeks off. Take 3 weeks and 1 day off on me.
Sounds good. I'm sold. Okay, fine. See ya.
All right. But the work's not over yet.
Oh, okay.
Some fill in the blanks as it relates to your countdown. There are blank quarterbacks who could be number one next year. How many could be number one next year?
I think when I really look at that, I'm going to go with four names that I think jump out to me to where I could say, and I'm not including Patrick Mahomes, right? I'm not including, but I look at Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, right? Any of those three, and then maybe another guy I'll throw into the mix there. And I don't expect it, but I think he's on my radar. Is Kyler Murray? I'm intrigued by Kyler Murray. You know, I don't expect him to be up there at number one, but I think he's got the type of talent and rare ability to where he could be a guy here that challenges Mahomes for like the most exciting, best quarterback in football as we go on here. So I think those are the names that jump out to me more than any. Any other ones that jump out to you or you disagree with there?
I'm just stunned. I'm stunned, I'm shocked, I'm appalled, and I will be contacting Aaron Rodgers. Not only did you take him out of the number one spot, you now say he has no chance of claiming it back.
I don't know if he does. And if he does, hey, listen, you know I'll be here singing "Oh, Aaron Rodgers" and throwing in everybody's face next year. I guess what I'm just saying is I don't envision at this point of his career him getting, like, better, like, remarkably, where I think there's some other guys like, hey, a Mahomes and Wilson can still get a little bit better. We know Deshaun Watson and Lamar and those guys, there's just room to grow. They're going in different directions and at different points of their career. It hurts me, man. Stop doing that. It hurts my heart.
As to the number one guy next year, would you take Patrick Mahomes or the field to be number one?
Oh, Patrick Mahomes, no doubt about it. You know, yes. I will be shocked if we're doing this next year and Patrick Mahomes wouldn't be my number one quarterback. I think, you know, we didn't even get to, like I said, there's no weaknesses in his game. And you heard Andy Reid in that last segment. You know, there's room to grow. He's a sponge. He's going to continue to get better. I think there's still plays that he leaves on the field a few times in a given game. You know, but we usually don't have to really, like, pay attention to it because he makes other plays to make up for it. But when I talk about real efficiency and like taking advantage of every little thing that's there to be had, I think at times Mahomes maybe leaves a few plays on the field every now and then because he's trying not to be too over aggressive or careless or stupid that way. And I think he'll continue to, you know, what do I want to say, make that nuance of his game even better and better.
My general approach to this type of a proposition is to always take the field. Always take the field.
But you're not here.
No, but here's the thing. Let's be realistic about what we're looking at. We're looking at a season of unprecedented uncertainty. We're looking at the possibility that Patrick Mahomes is going to be knocked out for 3 weeks with the coronavirus, where Lamar Jackson may not be, Kyler Murray may not be. And look at what it did to Patrick Mahomes in the chase for the regular season MVP. The knee injury that knocked him out for a couple of weeks, it opened the door for Lamar Jackson. So I just think with that many great quarterbacks out there who aren't named Patrick Mahomes, I got to take the field here. Even though I don't feel strongly about it, there's just too many. All the names you mentioned, one little slip up by Patrick Mahomes, an outbreak on the Chiefs that doesn't involve him. There's just too much uncertainty to put all the eggs in one basket. I'd rather put the eggs in the much broader basket given the dynamics of this year.
Yeah, the year does change things. I mean, I hear you. I get it. I'm actually surprised to hear you take the field. I am. You know, I mean, really, like realistically, because you've already said in the last segment that this is the best quarterback you've ever seen through 2 years of their career and your 50 years of watching football and paying attention. You know, like, do you expect him to be okay if things are normal, not the COVID-19? Do you think he's yes, okay.
Everything's normal, he plays
next
all season
5 years,
long, and the virus isn't an issue.
How long do you think this run goes for?
Well, here's the thing. Were we anticipating Patrick Mahomes in 2016? No. So I don't know who else is out there who could blossom into a competitor to Patrick Mahomes, but based upon what I've seen over the last 50 years, I don't see anyone being like Patrick Mahomes anytime soon. So I think this is a mantle he is going to hold indefinitely until one of those kids that has completely revamped his playing style after watching Patrick Mahomes shows up in the NFL, when Patrick Mahomes is the guy, you know, with a little gray in the beard, a little gray in the hair, maybe a little rickety, slowing down a little bit. And then in comes a guy 22, 23 who plays just like he used to. That's when I think the torch gets passed.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. I mean, that's kind of the way I expect it. You know, yes, from what we've seen, you know, there's just, again, there's no weakness to the guy. There's nothing. There's really nothing you can look at and go, ooh, you know, that's a little troubling. If that gets out of hand, it can really mess him up or whatever. You know, there's no weakness to him. And then there's really not a glaring weakness to the supporting cast around him. And I think that's what's scary too. And that's when you start to go, whoa, can they build a dynasty? And like you said, can they, you know, win multiple Super Bowls and start to do that? Harder, easier said than done. I know that. But, you know, it's set up for them to make that type of run, especially at least be one of those like offensive greatest show on turf type teams for a long time.
When you give one of the greatest coaches of the past 25 years, the greatest quarterback of all time, potentially, you're going to set the table, not for necessarily a dynasty, but the Chiefs are going to be hanging around and hanging around and hanging around. They're going to be on the porch, kicking on the door every year, and they're going to kick the door in probably more often than most teams will over the next 15 or 20 years. All right, next topic. And we're going to have to take a look at the 21 to 40 graphic of the Chris Sims top 40 quarterback countdown, because this question is the quarterback outside the top 20 that could be top 5 next year is who? And the example is Lamar Jackson went from 30 last year up into the top 5 this year. Who in that group of 20, Chris, from 21 to 40 has the chance to get to the top 5?
Yeah, well, I think really, here's the group that jumps out to me. 21, 22, 25, and maybe even 26, okay? And that's Baker Mayfield, Daniel Jones, Drew Lock, and Joe Burrow. I think those 4 guys, to me, have potential to be that. And I think specifically when I look at them more than anything, like, hey, listen, Drew Lock is certainly a guy I think that has that type of potential, and of course has the support system around him. And Baker Mayfield and Daniel Jones, listen, I'm not, you know, giving up on Baker Mayfield by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not. I'm still a believer in him, and there's support there to go along with it too. So the more I talk about it, the more I think it's maybe a Drew Lock or a Baker Mayfield to be the 2 names that jump out to me more than any.
Boy, if it's Lock, people are going to be stunned. They really are. But they shouldn't be, because we saw enough of him late last year to see what he can be. I'd go Mayfield, though. I'd hedge Mayfield on this one, because we saw him play at a very high level in 2018 when he had the right coaching. And when we broke down his placement at 21, we saw a lot of bad mechanics, a lot of bad habits that manifested themselves in games. And even though they don't have the luxury of working directly together face-to-face, I think Kevin Stefanski, who has worked with a bunch of different quarterbacks over the years, he was in Minnesota from 2006 through 2019, I think he'll be in a position to get the most out of Baker Mayfield. So of those guys, I think Mayfield is the most likely, or just none of them. None of them make it to the top 5, because you know what? The top 5 is pretty good. I don't know who in the top 5 is giving up his spot for one of these guys between 21 and 40, Chris.
No, you're right. Well, you know, the top 5 was like the easiest thing for me this year, you know, and it usually isn't, because you usually have you know, 3 through 6 or 3 through 8, so tough, and it's nitpicky and all that. You know, I went into this exercise this year going, I know who my top 5 is, and I know who number 1 is. I just need to figure out the exact order and where I feel comfortable, and that's when I go back and watch tape and compare and write some notes and things like that. But I'm with you. I think it's going to be very hard to break into the top 5 with that group in there right now. I mean, the only one that you look at and go, yeah, you know, is not still on the rise upward is Aaron Rodgers. And I don't think he's going to have the type of fall off that's going to be too drastic. In fact, I wouldn't be shocked if has a better year this upcoming year because of all the events of the offseason and everything like that than he did last year.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.